Usborne Illustrated Stories from India. The Snake Charmer. Roll up, Raj shouted out in the dusty village square. Then, sitting down on his mat, he raised a pipe to his lips and began to play an airy tune. As the strange music drifted into the air, a terrifying sight rose from the pot by Raj's feet. Red eyes appeared as bright and hard as rubies, followed by a darting red tongue and deadly fangs. Soon, the entire head of a huge green snake had risen from the basket and was swaying in time to Raj's music. But although everyone in the village knew how dangerous the snake was, they had all seen Raj's performance far too many times to take an interest. "Pah, it's just Raj and his snake again," said one old man who was playing chess in the square. "I wish he would stop playing that creepy music. It sends shivers down my spine," grumbled his friend as he took his turn. All day long, Raj played and the snake swayed, but hardly anyone came to watch. Only a few visitors from the large town nearby was impressed enough to throw Raj a few rupees. When Raj finally lowered his pipe, the snake curled up back in its spot. Raj swiftly clamped on the lid, then looked sadly at the small handful of coins on the ground. He collected them with a sigh, rolled up his mat, carefully picked up the snake's pot, and trudged home. "Never mind," his wife Asha said soothingly when he arrived back at their small house. "Maybe you will have more luck tomorrow." Gingerly, she lifted the lid of the snake's pot and dropped in a morsel of food. A grateful hiss escaped as she quickly lowered the lid. But later that evening, as they sat eating their own meal of watery soup, Raj saw how thin she looked and how her clothes were looking more faded and worn than ever. He began to hatch a plan. The next morning, he woke up before dawn and announced to Asha, "Today I will go to perform in the town. There are lots of people there who haven't seen me before, and they have much more money too." "But it will take you hours to walk all that way," Asha said, astounded. "Then I had better start at once," replied Raj. He picked up his mat, pipe, and pot, kissed Asha goodbye, and set off. When Raj arrived in town, the heat of the midday sun was pounding down on the busy market, and the air was heavy with the scent of ripe fruit and spices. For a few minutes he stood silently, watching the hustle and bustle of dozens of shoppers. "This is nothing at all like my village," he thought nervously, "but I have come all this way. I have to try." He found an empty patch on the ground, unrolled his mat, and set out his pot. Then, with trembling hands, he began to play. At first, his odd, enchanting music was lost in the crowded market, but as the snake's gleaming eyes and huge swaying head rose from the pot, Raj heard a few screams of terror, followed by gasps of awe. "Come and see the amazing new snake charmer." The news spread around the market faster than gossip. Soon Raj and the snake were surrounded by a large circle of cheering spectators throwing golden coins. Raj played until the market closed that evening. As he replaced the lid firmly on the snake's pot, he looked in disbelief at all the money on the ground. "We are rich," he thought. Delightedly, he filled his pockets with the coins and set off for home. He was so dazed by his good fortune that he didn't notice 3 men were watching him leave. "Did you see all the money that snake charmer had?" growled the biggest through a mouthful of broken teeth. Let's rob him as he walks home. No, it's too dangerous. He might set that giant snake on us, said the smallest and cleverest of the three. Let's follow him instead and take the money while he sleeps. Good idea, grunted the third robber, and all three steadily followed Raj. When Raj finally arrived home late that evening, a worried Asha was waiting for him. She hugged him with cries of relief, then stared in amazement at the huge amount of gold he had earned. What are we going to do with all this money? She asked, sweeping it up into a pot. I don't know. I'm too tired to think about it now, answered Raj with a weary grin. Let's make some plans in the morning. Outside, the robbers peered through a window and watched them go to bed, leaving the pot of coins on the table. As soon as the house went dark, the biggest robber went to the window and started to heave himself through. But Asha wasn't asleep yet and heard a noise. What was that? She wondered. She went to check on the money pot, which was where she had left it. The robbers crouched silently beneath the window out of sight. I'm worrying about nothing, she decided. Still, she carried the pot of money upstairs where she thought it would be safer. As she was going back to the bedroom, she remembered the snake's pot. I would better move that too. That's even more precious than the money, she thought. At last, with both pots safely stowed, she returned to her bed and finally fell asleep. How are we going to reach the money now that annoying woman has moved it? The biggest robber demanded. We should have grabbed it while we could. I have a plan, said the small, clever robber. If we stand on each other's shoulders, we should reach the upstairs window. One of us can climb in and get the pot. I'm the lightest. I will do it. So that's what they did. Balanced carefully on his fellow robbers, the smallest robber looked into a dimly lit room. There are 2 pots in there, he whispered down to the others. I would better take the heaviest. Silently he climbed in, lifted both pots in turn, grabbed hold of one and then clambered back onto the waiting robbers and down to the ground. The biggest robber snatched the pot and all 3 sped back to their den. When they arrived, they were overjoyed. We are rich, they cried, opening the pot with glee. To their horror, a large and very angry snake slithered out. Hiss, it whispered softly as its gleaming red eyes fixed on the smallest robber. For a single second, all 3 robbers froze with terror. Then, screaming and wailing, they raced away into the darkness as fast as their legs could carry them. When Raj and Asha woke later that morning, they were surprised to find the snake's pot missing. Do you think someone tried to steal the money and took the wrong pot? Laughed Asha. What a nasty surprise for them. When Asha left to go to the market with a full purse for once, Raj unrolled his mat outside his front door. He carefully placed a new pot on the ground and removed the lid. Then, with a smile, he raised his pipe to his lips and began to play. Airy music crept up the street and wound its way through the village. Before long, he heard a familiar hiss. Slowly, the snake slithered from the bushes and disappeared into the new pot, tail last of all. With a contented sigh, Raj stopped playing and covered it with the lid. Tenderly, he carried the snake's pot back into the house and shut the door. Thank you.